This is WrestleZone Weekly on WrestleZone.com. I'm Joe Dombrowski filing my Lee Marshall-esque road report, and I'm joined right now by a standout of independent wrestling. If you watch primarily WWE, you may not know much about this gentleman, but he is commonly known as Ophidian, but I mean, you've got a lot of other monikers that are attached to that. Tell us about who and what Ophidian is.
Oh yes, my friend, I am the venomous and vile serpent from the Nile, the one and only master of snake style, the Cobra Supernova, Ophidian.
See, that's one of those like loud and noxious introductions there. I always channel like Tony Chimmel or like all the Gary Capetta, whatever. So I'm totally out of my element there. But a lot of people have seen you and probably maybe aren't aware that they've seen you because you legitimately went viral, what, a couple of years ago?
Absolutely, 2011. He's using hypnosis, the most illegal move in the history of professional wrestling, went viral for us. All over. Attack of the Show on G4, Pardon the Interruption, and Around the Horn on ESPN.
Yeah, it wasn't a thing where like normal independent companies will like get 200 hits their first day and, oh, we're going viral, bro. It was legitimately watched by millions of people across all kinds of platforms, and it transcended independent wrestling where probably people that don't even know what independent wrestling is was watching you.
Absolutely. And it definitely helped spark a huge interest in not only myself, but CHIKARA and helped boost my career big time. Mm-hmm. Not to say I'm taking full credit for being the first viral video, but it was definitely one of the first huge viral videos for professional wrestling.
Now, getting a taste of that mainstream success, relatively speaking, does it ever maybe bother you in the sense that you've worked for many, many years? You've been, what, 9 years now in the game? 9 years. I met you in 2007 in a log cabin in McKeesport, Pennsylvania, where you were still cutting your teeth. And you've worked tirelessly since then, and we only really see each other every like 2 or 3 years or something like that, but every time I see you, you're markedly better. And does it bother you that you're most known for the hypnosis rather than for everything that actually took so much work and effort and physical sacrifice? I mean, look at guys in WWE, they will work their butts off, but sometimes they're only known for one catchphrase or one backstage promo or whatever. I mean, how has that gone in your mind?
At first, it was a little bothersome in this way. As a independent performer, we're booked mostly on our performances in the ring and how hard we can go, right? We're booked to do these crazy acrobatic matches that you can't get in that WWE style, as some would say. But the end of the day, professional wrestling is about creating moments, right? We thrive on those moments. We want those moments. We crave them. And I've created a moment that will forever live in professional wrestling history. So as growing a little bit older, being 9 years in now as opposed to 4 or 5 when that video went viral, I can look back at that and say, like, that is my moment. That is one of my defining moments, not just in my career, but in professional wrestling.
Talk about the CHIKARA style a little bit, because it's kind of polarizing. It's kind of its own universe, separate from all of the professional wrestling. And, there's a lot of ways to describe it, live action, comic book, et cetera, et cetera. We were in Cleveland, Ohio tonight for a live event where the crowd is somewhat more traditional, although there are some that certainly follow you. Is it difficult to kind of find that line when you're on the road between a crowd that will understand and appreciate hypnosis versus a more old school crowd that just wants to see a very simplistic hero-villain struggle, real fight, etc.?
It is the job of the performer to be able to adapt and change on the fly. And I think that is the mark of a not just a true, I'm not going to use the term worker, because I feel like that's an obsolete term, right? Because that's not where professional wrestling is at.
Obsolete? You're not going to go Broken Matt Hardy on me right now, right?
No deletion today.
Okay.
But what I mean is that we're performers, right? What we create in the ring, in my mind, is art, right? We're creating art. You're watching us to be entertained. So it's my job as the entertainer. As a paying customer, you want to be entertained. So it's my job to find the best way to do so. And I feel that I've been trained under Mike Quackenbush, Chris Hero, Cesaro, Sarah Del Rey, who's now Sarah Amato with NXT, Delirious, and El Pantera and Skydive. I've trained under so many. I know so many different ways to perform in the ring. That shouldn't be an issue. that in my mindset, in the CHIKARA style, and anybody that has trained in CHIKARA, we've trained in so many different forms of professional wrestling that shouldn't be an issue. And I feel that that's when I have the most fun, when I can perform in front of a crowd that isn't my home Philadelphia crowd, that bloodthirsty, volatile, Philadelphia, and go to a place like Cleveland and still have a blast.
And you're not just creating art, you're also creating young artists now with your training school. Tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. The CHIKARA Wrestle Factory is based out of Philadelphia. And currently, we have a whole crew of head trainers being myself, Mike Quackenbush, Chuck Taylor, Drew Gulak, Hollowick, and Fire Ant. And we're crafting essentially the future of professional wrestling. We are the largest school outside of the WWE with almost 75 or 80 students at the moment. It changes, as people come and go.
Wow.
We have a huge crew with a great cast of trainers. Some of the best in the world. Drew Gulak currently in the CWC. Chuck Taylor, who's made his debut for TNA recently. As well as guys like under the tutelage of Mike Quackenbush, who's done guest work for NXT.
So you're enjoying your role, continuing to be a performer, top of your game, but also giving back and bringing back bringing forward the younger generation and teaching them the right way to do it. And I think that's great. A couple of your kids were here tonight, and they performed very, very admirably. I think wise beyond their years. A lot of training schools are very fly by night, and they'll give you the basics. They'll give you a little bit of a foundation, but will not build upon that. But obviously, you've been to enough places and all over the world, and so have your counterparts, where you can give so many different perspectives, because it's such a subjective thing, pro wrestling. It's art form, just like you said. So I would recommend anybody aspiring to be in pro wrestling, do it right. Whether it's Lance Storm in Calgary, whether it's you guys in Eastern Pennsylvania, whatever the case may be. So many great, Monster Factory, et cetera, et cetera. But where can they get a hold of you online for more information about that school, and where can your fans find you on social media?
You can find me, Ophidian, at Ophidian Cobra on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. All of my social media is at Ophidian Cobra, and I promise you I'm on all of it. Please check out the Wrestle Factory at Wrestle Factory _ on Twitter, or just at Wrestle Factory on Instagram. You can also check out my Ring Shape series, where I demonstrate for you how we train our bodies to get in ring shape, on the CHIKARA YouTube channel or on my Facebook. And that CHIKARA YouTube channel is CHIKARA Live.
Well, Jake Roberts once famously said in a promo, never trust a snake. But I think we found a good one right here. Ophidian, thank you for joining us on WrestleZone Weekly. You can find me at joe-dombrowski.com. All the merchandise and the social media links are there. And I appreciate you being a part of this segment.
Thank you, Joe. Oh, yes.
Thank you once again, Ophidian, for your time. And I'll say that while the hypnosis isn't for everybody, it's not everybody's cup of tea, it's not necessarily mine, but I will say when it comes just bell to bell, the physicality and the athleticism of professional wrestling, Ophidian is one of my absolute most favorite people to watch. He's very unique, and I mean that in every positive way, and I strongly urge you, if you have a chance to get out to see an Ophidian match live, you absolutely do that. And if you're thinking of becoming a pro wrestler, few places are better to learn from than the Wrestle Factory, to be sure. Next week on the Road Report, I'm going to be joined by a man known by many names. You may know him most prominently as Damian Sandow, or in addition, Aaron Rex, currently on Impact Wrestling. Aaron Stevens is the name that he may have been known by for the longest, and we're going to talk about that long road, arduous path through OVW, many, many years to get to WWE. We'll talk about some of his various incarnations in his career, and the challenges of reinventing himself, and also something new like the Impact Wrestling Grand Championship. That'll be next week with Damian Sandow, Aaron Rex, Aaron Stevens, by any name. He will be the guest, and of course you can find out more about me at joe-dombrowski.com. All my merchandise, social media, outsource announcing, voiceover commentary, and a whole lot more is available there. And I will be on the road this weekend. Holidays be darned, because I'm going to be in Sydney, Ohio on the 25th and 26th, I believe, Friday and Saturday night, as part of the revival of the IWA. Going to be a great event in Sydney, Ohio. I believe that's near Dayton, check out iwaprowrestling.com for more details. And stop by, say hello. I'll have the merchandise table. I'll be behind the microphone, and it'll be a good time had by all. And that'll do it for the Road Report this week. Thanks for joining me, and hope to see you back here next week.